What is up, guys? Welcome. Crypto FUD. And let's jump into this, guys. Hope you guys are having a fantastic Monday. I know today is a rough day. We've seen some rough, 24 hours in regards to, the markets kind of retesting certain levels. Let's just go through this. We're not going to be here for too long. Make sure if you are watching this after the fact, slap that like. I really would appreciate it. And with that being said, let's just do this real quick. Let me just make sure everything is up and running here. Yep, we're good to go. All right, guys. So let's just do this here. So Bitcoin last night obviously saw a big move towards the downside. Right now, you can see Bitcoin is sitting at around 112,300. We did come back to retest some key levels here, guys. Honestly, in my opinion, pretty bullish given what we're going to talk about and what happened, what caused this crash. We did bounce at around 110,500, a little bit over that, but you can see where we pretty much bounced is where we basically had a lot of resistance on our way up. That 110.5 area was a big spot throughout the last few months where we've come up and we've hit our head and been rejected. And it looks like we came back down to retest that area. And obviously it was some solid support as of now for Bitcoin. So you got to make lemonade with lemons, right, guys? We saw a massive drop, but on the flip side, we definitely did bounce at a key level, keeping us pretty bullish at around that 110,500. Is this going to be it for the drop? We don't know necessarily what caused the drop. We're going to talk about that here in a second. Ethereum, obviously, this weekend making new all-time highs. I haven't even actually updated my chart because I've been so busy this weekend. But let's pull this up here. So Bitcoin or Ethereum had a nice little move towards the upside this past weekend. It looks like we did run up, hitting our head at an all-time high at around 4,900. Looks like 4,960 on this chart. Looks like to be the all-time high for right now for Ethereum. So absolutely fantastic. It was good that Ethereum went ahead and made these highs this weekend because with the drop, we were able to hold some key levels, right? If we would have been, let's just say Ethereum was still into this downward move in this box area and we saw the drop, Ethereum probably would have come back down to retest the 236 or potentially that trend line that we talked about that we've had since 2021. But we obviously saw a nice pump going into Friday, going into this weekend, and then obviously making those all-time highs. So when we did see the market come down, it looks like Ethereum came down to about 4,518. And as of now, we are trying to make our way back up. We are at around 46, 45 as of now. Looks like Ethereum is coming up and hitting its head at a key level that we have had as some support somewhere around that 46.60. Looks like that's going to be an area right now that we're going to have as some resistance as of now. So all in all, guys, right now, obviously the markets from last night, big dump, right? We saw a big dump, but we're starting to see somewhat of a correction in the markets. Hopefully we will continue to see somewhat of a correction. Let's see here. Jay, what's going on, brother? So what happened? Why did we see such a massive drop last night? And it's really, I'm sure you guys have seen it all over YouTube already. This has been over everything since last night. Whales are a whale. I heard it was a particular whale, but they're putting it in plural. So whales, $2.6 billion Bitcoin sale fueled a weekend crash amid ETH buying spree. So Bitcoin slipped to its weakest level in more than a month after a major investor, so it was one wallet, began unloading thousands of coins in favor of Ethereum. Data from CryptoSlate shows the asset trading at a roughly 111,600 on Monday, down nearly 3% on the single day, and its lowest mark since early July. The sell-off erased gains from just a week earlier when Bitcoin briefly rallied above 117 on speculation that the Fed reserves might cut interest rates in September. Instead, heavy selling pressure from one of the network's older and wealthier wallets reversed momentum and weighed on the broader market. So let's see here. So according to Lock On Chain, an early Bitcoin investor who originally received more than 100,000 Bitcoin 7 years ago has been actively rotating into Ethereum. So what's crazy is I'm getting mixed signals here. No Diddy on that one, but I'm getting mixed signals here where I'm hearing that the whale dumped for Ethereum, and then also I'm hearing that the whale didn't buy Ethereum. So I haven't been able to actually verify. We're actually going to look on Arcam because Arcam probably will be the one that's going to tell us exactly what happened with this particular wallet. But from what this is saying as of this morning, it's saying that let's see here. So it's saying basically that they're actively rotating into Ethereum, which I'm going to be honest, guys. Bitcoin's going to move the market. But Ricky, remember what we talked about? What's going on, brother? Good morning. Remember what we talked about yesterday in the Discord? I basically said I'm telling you guys we're going to get to a certain point that's probably we're already in where Ethereum is going to start running the market for now, briefly, right? Bitcoin's always going to be the king, right? But there are times when we get into these parabolic moves for alts where Ethereum actually takes over the lead briefly and starts running the market. But Bitcoin needs to at least go sideways or kind of lag behind Ethereum as we're moving up. If Bitcoin is dumping, you're going to see the rest of the market dump. So in this situation, if this is true, you saw a Bitcoin wallet. We're going to read about it right here, but they basically sold about 24,000 Bitcoin, which in return was worth over $2.6 billion, right? So that caused the Bitcoin obviously chart to come down, which brought the rest of the market, right? So when you're seeing people shifting from Bitcoin in such mass quantities, you're going to see the market actually come down briefly just because it's going to spook the whole market, right? Now, if they start putting that all into Ethereum, we might quickly see a move towards the upside with Ethereum leading the way, like I just said. So over the past 5 days, the wallet deposited nearly 23,000 Bitcoin valued at around $2.6 billion onto decentralized exchange Hyperliquid. Those sales were followed by a purchase of roughly 473,000 Ethereum worth $2.2 billion, along with an opening of a substantial long position. Holy shit. Bro, if this is true, holy hell, I hope you guys, not financial advice, are eating up this dip, because if this is true right here, this is probably the bullish stuff that I've ever read in my life, or at least in the last year. Do you guys see this? Let me just let's reread this right here. So over the past 5 days, the wallet deposited nearly 23,000 Bitcoin valued at around $2.6 billion onto a decentralized exchange called Hyperliquid, right? Those sales were followed by the purchase of roughly 473,000 Ethereum worth $2.2 billion, along with opening a substantial long position. Oh my God. You guys hear this? Ricky, you getting this, bro? You getting this, bro? Ricky said, I mentioned it was probably not substantial. Somebody's bound to take profits. Hell yeah, but I mean, do you hear this, bro? Like I said, remember what I said yesterday? I said, we're obviously going to keep an eye on Bitcoin, but focus more. Right now, when I pull up my charts, the first thing that pops up now is actually Ethereum, right? Because I'm more worried watching Ethereum. I'm obviously keeping an eye, just as close on Bitcoin as well. But Ethereum is going to start, if it's not already, running the market temporarily. And with this being said right here, where you're seeing a whale literally basically removing 1/4 of its position, because remember, we read up here that, however, they received 100,000 Bitcoin 7 years ago. They basically sold off almost 1/4 of their position of Bitcoin, looking like they put a lot of that, almost 90% of that, into Ethereum, and also opening up some kind of a long position as well. That right there tells me that Ethereum, guys, in these next few weeks, these next few months, is probably going to most likely double in its price point where it's at right now. That's just my opinion. Last time we called this when it was 2,500, it literally did this. Bill, what's going on, brother? What's going on, man? So the whale, looks like the whale has taken partial profits, closing more than 95,000 Ethereum long, 95,000 ETH longs as an average price of 47.35 to net 33 million. Okay, so he's taken some profits already. So meanwhile, the proceeds have since been reinvested into an additional Ethereum spot buys, totaling over 23,500 tokens valued at 108 million. Despite trimming exposure, the address continues to hold more than 40,000 Ethereum in open long positions with over $11 million in unrealized gains. Hyperliquid leverages trading frenzy. So the aggressive repositioning has also lifted trading activity on Hyperliquid, the largest decentralized perpetual exchange. According to the platform, spot trading volumes on the platform reached a record 3.4 billion in 24 hours, placing it second along all centralized and decentralized venues for Bitcoin spot trading. Bitcoin trading alone accounted for 1.5 billion in volume during that period. So, like I said, just to kind of go over what we just read, it sounds to me like this is temporary pain, right? Obviously, it's crazy, but we do have, and I think this is going to be how it is for a while. For Bitcoin, it's going to be like this for probably for the next 20 years, where we still have some of these old school wallets, right, that are holding 50, 100, maybe even 200,000 Bitcoin, right, that got it at a fraction of the price, that at some point are going to be taking profits, right? They've been holding for so long, right? Even through 2021, and you can see now that we've got up to some of these prices, like I told you guys before, where we're at with Bitcoin, 100, I mean, this was when we were at 115. I was like, we're at a solid spot right now where Bitcoin doesn't even necessarily need to get to 200,000. Unless you're a Bitcoin maxi, those are the only people that are really like, oh man, we need Bitcoin to get to 200,000. It doesn't matter anymore, right? We want Bitcoin to obviously hold solid levels, right? But it really doesn't matter. If you're 100% or you're 90% in alts, you should be focused on Ethereum. Ethereum's going to be running your portfolio 100%, right? So with that being said, I think in these next 10, 20 years, through multiple, these 4-year cycles that we have in front of us, we're going to see stuff like this, right? At some point, it's going to get to a price point for some of these whales that have been holding, they're like, all right, Bitcoin's at 200K, I'm taking profits, right? Bitcoin's at 300K, I'm taking profits. Bitcoin's at 150, I'm taking profits. Bitcoin's at 120 or wherever this guy sold at, 115. I'm going to sell 25% of my holdings, and I'm going to move it into something else that I think we're probably going to see more returns in these next few months. And that looks like what this particular whale is basically, betting on is that Ethereum is going to bring better returns in these next few months, most likely. And we pretty much already have been saying that for a while now in regards to Ethereum really heating up in these last, 6 weeks. So, Gino, what's going on? Finally made it. Ricky said double ETH would be awesome. Oh, yeah. 100%, bro. Oh, it's coming. It's coming, bro. Like I always tell you guys, follow the money. Follow the money. Before this morning, I hadn't looked at any of these articles whatsoever. I literally just opened this up and read this all for the first time with you guys. And now that I'm reading it, I'm telling you, this to me seems like this is very, very bullish, guys, in my opinion. Very bullish. So we'll see how this plays out. Looking at the bubbles for today, you guys can see obviously alt basically took a hit across the board. I would say 97% of the projects for the top 100 are in the red right now. In my opinion, I've been buying just because I feel like we're getting, and it's not like I've been doubling my positions. I've just been buying small increments, just adding to my my portfolio on certain projects whenever I see days like this, right? Like last night when we saw that flash crash, I added, right? I was just adding. I didn't even know what was going on yet. Ricky broke the news in the Discord, but even before I even saw any of that, I just saw the big crash, started adding to my positions just because, in my opinion, you guys know where I'm at with this 4-year cycle. I do think even if we're going to top out and maybe we continue into 26, I don't give a shit. I want to make sure that if we are going to top out or we see some kind of even a local top in these next few weeks, next few months, I want to make sure that I'm in a great position to where I can take profits and then kind of, go from there as far as if we potentially see something going on moving into 2026, if you understand what I'm saying. So with days like we saw yesterday, days like today, I'm taking these 5 to 10%, dips and I'm adding to my bag, So that's personally what I've been doing. I just realized I don't even have coin. Let me see here. Coin market cap. Let's pull this up and see what's going on here. So fear and greed, we're kind of sitting in that same spot where we're like neutral, 50-50. Half the market is I would say half the market is bullish. The other half is maybe bearish in regards to fear. Half the market knows where we're headed. The other half most likely is just, doesn't understand 4-year cycles, doesn't understand where we're at in this cycle. And they're the ones that are probably following like sheep, when they see these dips and they're selling for losses. And then what do you think they're going to do in the next month or two when we're back up, and we're in the parabolic stage? They're going to be buying in at more expensive prices, which as long as it's not you guys, who cares, right? Who cares? Ricky said he's going in. Oh, he's going all in on Zbeck. Bro, I knew it. Bro, you imagine that? A $2 billion buy on Zbeck? That'd be insane. That would be absolutely insane. I'd have to take profits, right? Punk said he's about to swap all his Zbeck into dog Elon Mars. All right, bro. Just let us know. We'll do a wellness check on you in like 2 weeks from now. Watch, Punk. You're kidding around. And watching like a month from now, Dog Elon's up like 10x from where it's at. That's crazy. Jay said all in SSX. What is that? Is that a project? What's SSX? Am I supposed to say no Diddy on that one? Jay, did you get me, bro? Oh, okay. Jay's over. I know, Jay, I know you're shaking your head right now. I know, bro. I keep forgetting the acronym for this project, bro. The ticker. Jay's over there like, bro, I've asked you about this project 16 times already. You know what? I'm surprised I haven't put it on my watch list, but I just put it on there, bro. I just put it on there. Relax, all right? Take it easy. Sit back down. My boy, he just jumped out of his seat like, bro, literally, I've been bringing this project up for the last 2 weeks, man. Fuck. Excuse my language. Never listens, bro. My boy said he's all in on Solana stock index. Ooh, shoulder's kind of hurting. I mean, we've already talked about this plenty of times. The numbers obviously check out. Market cap's in a solid spot. Solid market cap, but not high at all. To where this thing could easily 10x on you at some point. Liquidity looks good. Volume looks fine. It's at 10% of its market cap. Makers, I'm not expecting right now some of these projects, especially that have been out for over a month. Most of them are not going to have that, multi-million dollars in volume as of right now, especially getting out from the weekend and from what we've seen for right now. So, I mean, the numbers check in. They look fine. What I would say is right now, let's see here. You guys came up. We've already talked about this. This was actually, when was this? Oh, yeah, about a week ago. About 5 days ago, you guys came up to make that local high. You didn't make all-time highs, but you came damn near close. Since then, you're obviously seeing somewhat of a downward channel, but this could be a nice little bull flag that you have going right here. So who knows? You have support somewhere around that 0.5, I would say, around that 30 area, 203. You went a little bit below, but you can see off of here, you guys have been kind of bouncing off that area, no Diddy. So hopefully that holds if you guys do come back. I would say you guys could still easily come down to the channel, the bottom of the channel, which is around 26, 27 area, and still bounce and be perfectly fine, bro. So just keep an eye out on that. If you're looking for spots to accumulate, obviously not financial advice, but I will say if we move this channel line, you easily could come down, like I said, to the 26, 25 area and still be pretty bullish in this channel, waiting for a nice little bounce, a breakout on this bull flag. So doesn't look bad, dude. My boy said he's all in. It's that time, bro. It's that time where you gotta get in your positions now. I've been doing the same thing. Like I've had the most mass that I've ever had, right? Mask has been holding pretty well, right? It's like bittersweet. I wanted to drop a little bit, even though I have a massive amount right now. I think like short term, it would hurt mentally, if she drops down. But at the same time, like, it just gives me that opportunity because I know where Mask is heading. This is like the big meme coin that I'm doubling in on because I feel like this is the project right here. I think this is going to be that one of those meme coins. There's going to be several, but I personally think this is going to be one of those meme coins where this thing just absolutely just crazy run whenever we go parabolic. And you know what, this also, Jay, whole squad, why I think a lot of these projects, no matter what, are going to do really well. Look at this story that we have right here. So Wall Street giants plot $1 billion Solana treasury set to close in weeks, shaking the market. Now, I don't know what it. I'm pretty sure this is. I think they're trying to get some kind of a $1 billion Solana treasury set up. I haven't read any of this, but I saw something yesterday, an article where Solana is like 99.9% going to be getting an ETF here soon, most likely in October, which is coming up. And literally, I don't know the exact date in October when it's supposed to happen. I know we talked about this plenty of times, but I would say probably in roughly about 6 weeks from now. But one thing I was thinking about, and I was like, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if at some point, hear me out, that a lot of profit taking gets taken place on Ethereum when Ethereum gets up to like 8 or 9 or maybe 10,000, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of that money funnels into Solana. I would not be surprised, and Solana sees some kind of a $500-$600 move towards the upside at some point during that parabolic stage. So, and I bring that up because we're talking about Solana based projects. It's going to move the whole ecosystem is going to benefit from this. So just reading this article real quick. So Galaxy Digital, Multicoin Capital, and Jump Crypto are seeking about $1 billion to assemble a Solana treasury through a public company vehicle, according to Bloomberg, with Cantor Fitzgerald engaged as a lead banker and a takeover of a listed entity. Contemplated for the structure. I know I didn't probably pronounce that word correctly. The effort, described as ongoing talks. You guys see how I had to sound it out. I was like, contemplated. Some words still get me. I'm not gonna lie. Reading wasn't my strongest. I was a numbers guy going through school, so like reading, I got through. Right, I ended up getting college level reading, but I'm sure it's not there anymore. Right, so just bear with me. I know some of you guys are like, numbers. It's all about numbers. So the effort, described as ongoing talks, would create what a report characterized as the largest, Solana treasury. They're going to hit me with this word continuously here. So let me see if contemplated. The contemplated wrapper mirrors familiar corporate treasury mechanics using public equity and financing tools to scale crypto exposure that can later be supported by converts or PIPEs. Recent activity around Cantor-backed crypto treasuries shows the pathway exists in traditional markets, including the NASDAQ listing plan for a Bitcoin standard treasury company through Cantor-affiliated SPAC, which if completed, would list a balance sheet with more than 30,000 Bitcoin. Timing remains a key variable. Bloomberg's account, as relayed in same-day trade pressure similarities, points to an early September closing goal and a green light from Solana Foundation, while noting that the detail could change and parties could decline to comment. These elements underlying the plan is pre-closing and subject to market and regulatory exclusion risk. The choice of Solana aligns with how on-chain trading has shifted this year. OKX State of DEX 2025 found Solana accounted for roughly 48% of decentralized exchange volume, with activity skewed to smaller retail trades, while Ethereum and its layer 2s continue to dominate tickets above $50,000. That split helps explain why an equity-listed Solana aggregator might target breadth and liquidity on Solana while acknowledging that institutional block flow often remains on Ethereum basis. So you guys can see, I mean, it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be not a struggle, but it's going to be like a friendly competition, I think, that's really going to be there between Ethereum and Solana, right? Obviously, Solana is doing a lot more transactions, but what they're saying is you're seeing a lot more bigger, like more valued transactions going through Ethereum. And I think the reason is for that is because it's expensive as shit to use Ethereum, right? You don't want to go and make a bunch of small small trades or small swaps or whatever the case is on Ethereum. You're going to usually, especially if you have a lot of funds or whatever the case is, you're going to do it all at once, right? On Solana, it's cheap. You can make a bunch of different transactions. It's going to cost pennies to the dollar, right? So, excuse me, this is big right here, guys. In these next few weeks, these next few months, I think Solana is going to get, just like Ethereum has the focus now, I think it's going to eventually shift over, not taking all the light, but at some point, you're going to see a lot more spotlight on Solana as well, is what I'm thinking. So, Jay said on your off time, dig into it further, dig into the project. I will. I'll check it out, bro. I put it on my watch list, so I definitely will start. I'll start looking at it. Gina said, I think during this time in the red, ALI has been holding good. Will you CH ALI? What does CH mean, Gina? What does CH mean? Will you check? Yeah, I'll pull it up. So ALI is we always talk about this, a small cap AI project that is actually on Ethereum. Right, this is an Ethereum-based project. So you can see, Gina, obviously it's definitely been making higher lows. You're in a good spot, obviously, right now. I know that market cap's really low at the price point that it's at right now. So, I mean, not a bad little area. You are trading in a channel, right, with the bottom being somewhere around that 50, right, 2 zeros and a 50. And it looks like, even though you've broke above plenty of times, it looks like you can even see recently you've come up, hit your head at this area, which is somewhere around the 81 area. So as of now, I would say project doesn't look bad. If you do see any kind of a move towards the downside, if you're looking for long-term accumulation, not financial advice, anywhere around that 50 area or below is probably going to be a good spot as far as accumulation. So, but yeah, I mean, as Solana or Ethereum builds, and especially AI as well, I think this project's going to do really well, right? My thing with this project is, even if, like, right now, if I was accumulating ALI, I would be just accumulating, right, for waiting for that who knows when, right? But something like this is going to happen, because it always happens, right? With ALI, such a small market cap, this thing just starts firing up, and it'll run, from like where it's at, it'll run. In the next couple days, it could run up, 100, 200, 300%. That's when I think I personally have done it before, where I just take profits and kind of just wait it out and reposition myself, right? I don't know what it is, but with the project, when it runs up, it doesn't stay up for long, right? You're seeing a lot of moves towards the upside because it doesn't take much because the market cap's so low. But then, you see a lot of profit taking where it's like, either you take profits or you just kind of ride it up and ride it down, no diddy, and you're just kind of watching it do that multiple times within the last year, So I personally, if I was accumulating right now, which is in a good level, market cap's at around 66 million, so it's very, very small market cap. If that thing runs up, and sees a good, solid few days, I take profits and just kind of reposition myself on it. So Ricky said Solana is not in any position to go down anytime soon. Whoa. Ricky, don't say that, bro. Do not start saying stuff like that. All right? Relax. But I get what you're saying. Just relax, all right? Someone hears that. A big whale hears that, and they're like, oh, really? $1 billion sale. Right now, top 100. OKB is still holding on the 7-day, still up 55%. We talked about why this is up like crazy. Morpho actually has been up as well for the last 7 days, up 29%. Aave, 13. Crow, not doing bad. Chronos is up 10% on the week. VeChain up 10%. Solana 8, almost 9%, and Ethereum up 7%. And then we have Hyperliquid up 6%. Arbitrum, which is a layer 2 for Ethereum's up about 7%, 6.5% for the week. So I mean, given that we saw that move towards the downside yesterday, right? I honestly think that majority, given especially that we read that article, in my opinion, taking that reading just a couple of these lines right here, that the wallets repositioned himself, selling 23,000 Bitcoin and buying 473,000 Ethereum, even though he took some profit on that, and opening up a long position on Ethereum, to me, that right there is some very bullish news right there. For the month of August, which we technically have, I believe, let me see here, we go up to the 31st, so we have 6 days left. 6 days left of August. Are we going to end in the green or are we going to end in the red, right? Who knows how that's going to play out. At the beginning of the month, I said we were going to probably end in the green, and it's been a solid month, right? Remember, we've hit all-time highs for Bitcoin. We've hit all-time highs for Ethereum, right? Solana's broke over 200. You know, we've seen some good movement in alts, right? Let's check dominance real quick. I know as of yesterday, dominance was cratering. You can see we're still on the way down for dominance. So, I mean, this month has been a solid month. Obviously, when you look at it, you know, you zoom out and you look at it, we're technically down about 3% for the month. So we'll see. I mean, we could easily see a solid few days before the month ends and end in the green. It really doesn't matter much, right? It really doesn't matter much. I think the big focus is going to be September. Going into September, how are we going to do, right? And I say this because historically speaking, right, September is not a good month during bull markets. Back in 2021, we were down 7%, but this really doesn't even give you the full gist of what happened going in from that last week of, or really the first week of September, really. We dropped for Bitcoin. Bitcoin dropped about 25% in 2021 in September. Take that in, 25%, right? It was big. But after that big drop we saw in September, by the end of the month, by the third week of September, Bitcoin already had rebound, and we started, look at the following month. We were up 40% in October, right? And really, you look at this and you're like, damn, November and December weren't that good. Actually, it was, because we ran up 40%, right? We actually ran up even higher in November, going into that parabolic stage for alts. Before the end of the month, that's when we started to move towards the downside, and we had already topped out in the market, right? So the point of what I'm getting to, you know, September, I'm iffy on, right? Because we have seen a nice little move towards the downside these last week or two. So was that the dip, or are we just getting ready for maybe seeing some kind of a little bit more of some downward movement potentially towards the beginner half of September? It easily could happen, right? We also have, to save the day, I think, is going to be Jerome Powell, like we saw at the end of last week. We have 23 days, basically 3 weeks until the FOMC meeting, and things have shifted back into our favor for now, right? So we have 86.3% of the market is basically insinuating that we're going to see some kind of a reduction in interest rates, right? Which would be very positive for us. So hopefully we stay up and some solid levels over here going into the FOMC meeting. Even if we do see maybe, you know, some more downward movement, I think within the next few weeks we'll easily pick back up with anticipation of rate cuts on the horizon coming and starting to give us that boost that we need going into the end of September, going into October, going into November. So we have that, you know, going to be basically following us. We have 23 days until that happens. So hopefully, you know, hopefully we don't see anymore. Maybe that was the drop that we were anticipating, right? Because we've been talking about that a lot in our members only stream for the last like maybe 4 weeks, that we were anticipating some kind of a move towards the downside. Just historically, that's how it happens, right? Looking at Bitcoin, this is the liquidations for right now. Looking at where there's a lot of volume, right? A lot of liquidity sitting. You can see we have a lot of volume sitting at around 111,000. down here. I'm sure there's probably a lot of people stacking up, looking to get in or stacking up as far as longs. And then we do have or had some shorts at around 112.3, but you can see that's pretty much where we're at right now, right? So we do have a lot of money in this area right now that maybe either selling off or potentially opening up shorts as of now. But if we do break above this area, our key level that we're really looking for to break above for Bitcoin is at 112,680 to be exact. If we can break above this level right here, I think we're going to see not a massive amount, but we're going to see a lot of liquidations as far as shorts, and that could bring us up to our next level, which really the next big level that we have is around 114. It's 113,900 seems to be a big level that we have a lot of money waiting, either shorts or whatever the case is. They could even be buys that are waiting to jump in at those areas. So we'll see how it plays out. But other than that, that's pretty much, let's see here, the government stakes in Intel. That's pretty much it. The big thing was really just that freaking whale that sold but bought into Ethereum, which I think is honestly great. Let's see here. Lark, as of 3 hours ago, Tom Lee's Bitmine bought over 800 million worth of Ethereum in the past week. Nice. Crypto Rover 56 minutes ago. Shout out to Crypto Rover. Bitcoin dominance is cooked. A sharp drop is coming. Alts are set to explode. You hear this? I've said this for the all stream, but I've been saying this for the last few weeks. It's just everything is pointing towards, if everything stays the way it is, pointing towards a massive parabolic move on the horizon, guys. I'm telling you. And that's why, remember at the beginning of the stream, what did I tell you? I have been just accumulating, especially last night, today. While we saw those drops, wasn't going crazy. I didn't double my position on a lot of things, but pulled the portfolio out and started adding to my positions, right? Because a dip at this point, yes, you've heard it for the last 2 years. Eat the dips. A dip's a blessing. Blah, blah, blah. We are at the finish line here, guys, right? In my opinion. So dips are actual blessings as of now, because at some point, there's going to be no more, right? Or the dips are going to be a lot higher than where we're at right now, and people that aren't buying right now because they're scared, they're going to be buying in a month from now when, some of these projects have already doubled and maybe we see 10% drops in a day. But when you really pull it out and but when you zoom out and you look at that dip compared to where we're at right now, it's 60% higher than where it is right now, right? So that's how it's going to move. That's how it's going to move here. So Ricky said, music to my ears. I'm going to remind you of a gem. I know it's an old coin, but Algo will do multiples, minimum $6. Ricky said the max target for Solana was 194, so now it's a good time to DCA. I saw you bring up Algorand the other day. And what's crazy is there's so much stuff out there. You almost forget about some of this stuff, I've never really been too familiar with Algorand. I'm going to be honest with you. You can tell by my chart. There's nothing there, right? There's nothing there. You said going to $6. Where's the market cap for a project like Algorand? $2 billion. $2 billion. We're at 26 cents, and you're saying this thing's going to $6? I'm not doubting you. I'm just saying that's a massive market cap, bro. That's a massive market cap. What are we looking at there? Let's just say it's at 25 cents. What are we looking at there? Oh, I'm trying to do math here in my head. Because if it went up to $1, that's a 4x from where it's at right now. You're looking at like a 24. That's like a 24, 25x from where it's at right now. I briefly, right? Somewhere around there. 25x. So you're talking about potentially somewhere around a $50 to $55 billion market cap. It's not unheard of, right? It's not unheard of. I mean, it's on all the major exchanges. Algorand is an OG project, so I'm not going to doubt it whatsoever, but that's a massive market cap right there, bro. I saw somebody the other day, a well-respected analyst, giving predictions. I actually was watching somebody, I forgot who it was, I wanted to call them out, but they were showing all the reasons why they think that the crypto market, we're about to see a surge up to $10 trillion, right? Think about that. $10 trillion, right? Right now, the market cap currently sits at around just under 4 trillion, right? We're at 3.9 trillion, we'll call it. Imagine if another $6 trillion is about to come flying into the market. Some of it's going to go into Bitcoin. A lot of it's going to go into Ethereum. And a lot of that's going to go flying into a lot of these alts. And that right there, if you think about that, let's just say 3 trillion more just goes strictly into alts, not counting Ethereum or Bitcoin. Just imagine how much money is going to be going around. And a $50 billion market cap, briefly for like Algorand, is not unheard of. It really is not unheard of. I know right now when you're looking at it, you're like, that's a big move. It's really not that. It's when you're talking about trillions of dollars that are going to come flying into the market. Now, it's not going to stay in the market, right? We're talking about when crypto tops out, right? It doesn't stay in long because guess what? All of us that have been buying right now, what are we going to do when it hits 10 trillion? Profit taking. People are going to be taking profits, right? So it's not going to sit at 10 trillion most likely for a while, but it just it shows you how much money is going to come flying into this market and how these market caps could easily 10, 15x, even big projects that are multi-billions of dollars right now. So hooked up with all the important coins, including ZBEC. It has. That is true. That is true. Before we go, what's ZBEC doing right now? Where is old ZBEC? There she is, 47. She's sitting solid right now. She honestly is. She's sitting solid. Definitely sitting solid. I mean, we're looking good. 47. And right now, honestly, 47 is not a bad spot to be accumulating, in my opinion, for ZBEC. So, probably look to add to the portfolio on that. So, we'll see how it plays out, guys. But for right now, Bitcoin, we're just looking for a breakout above that 112.6. Obviously, for Ethereum, she's looking straight at sitting at around 4,600 as of now. So we'll see what this week brings. Don't let this stuff scare you. I'm telling you, we read that article. That whale didn't sell all his stuff and just run out of the market. He sold all of his stuff and moved it over to Ethereum and opened up long positions. That right there should tell you everything. All right? All right, well, with that being said, I do have to run. I appreciate you guys. If you guys are watching this after the fact, please, 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 even right now, hit the flipping like button, all right? Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already. I thank you guys so much. Have a great, productive Monday, and I'll see each and every one of you guys a little bit later on, if not tomorrow. All right, guys? Thank you, guys.